and I'm back. So I just saw this on the New York Post, and I gotta say that this is really an interesting article, and I saw the video. I'm gonna post the link, and I'm going to actually do a live this weekend about this because there were things that was mentioned in the video that I don't agree with. So I'm going to read to you from the New York Post. The View's Sonny Hostin defends professor who wished the Queen excruciating pain. The View's panelist Sonny Hostin on Friday defended a tweet in which a Carnegie Mellon professor wished the deceased monarchs excruciating pain before death. Hostin says she once lived and studied in London and noted, "We all love glam and pageantry on the British royal family," but she asserted that Queen Elizabeth presided over widespread injustice during her reign. "I think we can mourn the Queen and not the empire, because if you really think about what the monarchy was built on, it was built on the backs of black and brown people," Hostin said. "She wore a crown of pillared stones from India and Africa, and now what you're seeing, or at least in the black communities that I'm part of, they want reparations." Hostin called for King Charles to take steps to reform the royal family. "It's time for him to modernize this monarchy, and it's time for him to provide reparations to all of those colonies," Hostin added. Fellow panelist Joy Behar jumped into the discussion with the defense of the Queen. "Do you know that Queen Elizabeth fought against apartheid in South Africa?" Behar asked. "That was one of the good things she did," Hostin responded. She also was very angry with Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, who refused to do sanctions against South Africa. So she tried, I think, her best, if she could, every once in a while. She really didn't have that much power, Behar added. She was a figurehead. The discussion shifted to the tweet posted by Uju Anya, an associate professor of second language and acquisition at Carnegie Mellon University. Billionaire Jeff Bezos was among countless users who criticized the post, which has been removed for violations of Twitter use. "I heard the chief monarch of a thieving, raping, genocidal empire is finally dying," the tweet said. "May her pain be excruciating." Carnegie Mellon later released a statement noting that it did not condone Anya's remarks. The university has been silent on whether she will face disciplinary action. The View's Sarah Haynes brought up the tweet, referring to it as awful. "That is literally answering with such hateful heart." And it wasn't the tweet. Almost more shocking was the tens of thousands of likes on that tweet. Haynes said, "To me, that was a moment where you're answering the very hate you reject with hate." Hostin responded by defending Anya's point. "It was a thieving, raping, genocidal empire," Hostin said. "That's all true." And Hostin, for most of what she said, she was right. It was a genocidal empire. But here's the problem. You're caping for a woman, this professor Uju Anya, who disrespected Foundational Black Americans. She is the very same professor who a month ago had to apologize for years of using the term Akata on social media. She was using it while she was a professor of Carnegie Mellon University. But here's the thing. With all the clips and proofs of this woman calling us Akata, nobody did anything to her. You see, it wasn't until she basically calls out a white supremacist empire now, and with Jeff Bezos doing it, now it's a problem. But she should have been called out and fired for that. She was using hate speech when she calls us Akata. But you see, this is the whole thing. Nobody cares about our concerns. She was supposed to be fired for that. But now they're going to try to fire her because of what she said about the Queen and the United Kingdom. You see that? Now, Sonny, for the most part, was right. But you don't cape for someone without mentioning their flaws. If she would have said she was right, but this person has a history of calling us Akata, then, and using derogatory names towards Black Americans, then okay, fine. But now what it is, you're painting this woman as a victim, and people will get sympathy to Dr. Uju Anya, but nobody's going to call out the stuff that she said. Two wrongs don't make a right. At least with the Queen, I know what her game was. I know what the game is of the British monarchy. But I'm more upset that this professor called us Akatas for years. For years, and nobody said anything. Now I'm looking at a post that Dr. Uju Anya is actually a lesbian professor who divorced her husband. So this is really interesting now. So now they're saying that she's a lesbian. Now this is something. You know what? I'm going to do a separate commentary about her, because I think that people like her, she's a feminist, but there's a lot of people like her who are LGBT. You know what? I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for later. I'm going to save it for later. So I'm going to end it on that, but I'm going to come back because I'm going to talk about her specifically. Thank you for listening and tuning in, and I'll be back soon. Later.